how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be continuing my Sharks of Summer series. Sharks of Summer is a series I do around here where once a week, at least once, during the summer, I take a look at a shark movie. And today, we're going to be talking about Shark Season. This is from 2020 and is put out by the Asylum. The movie is directed by Jared Cohn and stars Paige McGarvin, Juliana Destefano, Jack Pearson, and features an appearance from Michael Madsen. Anyway, this is kind of an unusual movie for the Asylum. I mean, it doesn't even have US physical media, probably due to that 2020 release date, but also it's not tied to one of their bigger series, which actually, if you look at the Asylum shark movies, most of them are in a chain of at least 4 movies. But the biggest thing I think that's different between this movie and a lot of other Asylum movies is they're actually trying to be serious here. They're trying to go for the shallows a fair bit, and in turn they're trying to make a tight survival thriller. A lot of the Asylum shark movies are either cheesy, like Mega Shark vs. Colossus or Sharknado, either that or they're lazy factory films like Michael Madsen's last shark movie appearance, Megalodon. But this they are trying. Does it work? No, it doesn't. I mean, E for effort, but it didn't really pan out. When you're doing a tight survival thriller like what this is supposed to be, you really need a fair bit of clever writing and a good script. But for every, clever survival moment in here, there's at least 3 pretty stupid moments. I mean, for example, they're in their kayaks, and they get the idea to tie the 2 kayaks together so that it looks like a bigger object from underwater, and the shark is less likely to attack it. That's a good idea. But you get that, and then you get things like, don't scream because the shark will hear you, or this incredibly convenient way to get their phones back that they just didn't think of before. And even, probably one of my personal favorites is, I know the shark is chasing us, but I'm tired and I really need to take a break right now. Wow, yeah, no, there's... the survival isn't tight, and you really needed that. In other tight scenario movies like this, you can get by with drama and humor. Think Adam Green's Frozen. That really did that super well. The humor in here doesn't super work. I remember that they told jokes, but I really don't remember hardly any of them. A lot of them are just like, never doing this again. Whatever. And as far as the drama goes, I mean, there is some of it there, but it doesn't play out really great either. And I mean, there's one of the drama scenes that unintentionally turns super hilarious when the girl says, I didn't see my life turning out like this, getting eaten by a shark. Really? You didn't see your life turning out like this? I think a lot of people plan on dying by shark attack, right? And because the movie's trying to be serious, there is less cheese, and this has a pretty low body count. There's just not too many people for the sharks to eat, and the sharks don't get to do as many stupid things because this is trying to be serious. I will say though, as far as the cheesy side goes, we do get a pretty epic dolphin versus shark fight in here, which I thought was pretty fun, and I kind of miss that. I mean, good for the Asylum for trying something new, good for them to put in the effort to try to be serious. I do kind of just miss their stupid films though, and sadly a lot of what this boils down to is some people floating around in a kayak for most of the movie, and it's watchable, it's fine. It's definitely not their worst shark movie, but it really could have been better. Either lean into the cheese or get a tighter, better, more clever script. It's a little slow at times, but again, E for effort, and at least they are trying, and it's definitely not their worst. I watched all the Megalodon movies. Those are their worst. This is fine. It's not gonna win over people who aren't shark heads. And if you are shark heads, you know that this is far from the bottom of the barrel. It's not great, but it is interesting to see something different. Anyway, in order to analyze this further, let's take a bit of a look at the plot. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, but I do want to take a moment, break down and analyze some points from this movie, do a bit of analysis, but I'll be avoiding the end bits. So let's go in for a deeper dive. Anyway, the setup for this movie is you get this girl, and she's a model. Her ex-boyfriend is a photographer, and he's bringing along his current girlfriend, who's a makeup artist. And yes, right off the bat, why would you do this? Why would you purposely put yourself alone with your ex-girlfriend and your current girlfriend? It's almost like you're trying to stir up drama, which is exactly what the writer's trying to do. But yeah, cheap source of drama. And the thing is, though, with the drama here, is they're all okay with the situation. Like, you know, the ex-girlfriend says, I'm happy for you, you make a good couple, and the current girlfriend's like, cool, you know, I'm glad you moved on. And so, because they're all mature about it, which is what you should be, there is no drama or fighting really here, so it's more awkward than anything. And second, I do want to mention, he's bringing along his current girlfriend because she's a makeup artist for this photo shoot, but the crew already put her through makeup, and when she goes and applies her in-universe makeup, she doesn't really change, you know? Like, at least give her, like, prominent eyeshadow or something, because that's the whole reason we're bringing this character along, is to do the makeup, and she doesn't really look any different, so whatever. Anyway, the guy says, hey, I know we were supposed to go to this one island, but because of low tides, another island just appeared, and if we go there, we'll be the first and maybe only people to do a photo shoot on it, which, if you watch true survival stories, a lot of the times when they do get into danger, it's because they decided to go somewhere different and didn't tell anyone their plan. So if you're doing this in real life, don't do that. But anyway, he says it will only be an extra hour, and they go and kayak out. And yes, they kayak for an extra hour. That means the whole journey is like over 3 hours long? Okay, I'm not a kayaking expert by any means, but I have a feeling that if it's more than 30 minutes, you should probably not take a kayak there. Are you gonna have any energy left to do the actual photo shoot? This sounds extremely dangerous. But they throw in some line about how they don't want to disturb the local environment or something. But still, dumb idea right off the bat, and I would never do this. And then they get to the island, and it is just a chunk of cement. Like, they go an extra hour, which will be 2 to get back. It's just an ugly hunk of cement, so cool, it's great. But of course, they go there, they start their photo shoot, and she goes in the water to do some, like, GoPro underwater shots, and that's when the other girl sees the shark, and they realize they're in danger, and the island they're on is sinking. Well, of course, we don't actually see it sink, because the Asylum doesn't have the budget for that, but they'll tell us that it's going underwater, and they have to get back on their kayak soon. Yeah, it's a little contrived, this gotta keep moving because stuff keeps sinking, but whatever. They have just enough battery left for one phone call. It's spotty reception, no battery. And by the way, you are planning on a kayak trip that's 2 hours there, 2 hours back, and you didn't charge your batteries? Like, man, there's so much wrong. Like, you're dying because you're addicted to Candy Crush. If you're going out that far, whatever. Anyway, they get one call out, and that's to Michael Madsen, because he's a rescue guy. Like, this is what he does, and if you're gonna call anyone, call him. And the way the boyfriend talks about him, you think he's like the coolest superhero ever. And that's where we get Michael Madsen. A lot of people said in the Megalodon he was kind of phoning it in, and now ironically he's literally on the phone for most of his part in this movie. He's in a house in another set, never interacts with the other actors, and I will say, if you wanted to center the movie around Madsen's character, it actually might be a really fun movie to see the searching perspective and trying to find someone in the big ocean with limited information. Needless to say, the movie's obviously not that clever, and most of the rescue team seems to be one guy on a little boat, and it's also hilarious where large chunks of his dialogue are ADR'd, like they give an origin story for the shark, which was clearly an afterthought because we're staring at the back of this guy's head as they put in new dialogue over it later. Whatever. They're gonna look for them, and they're going to get stranded in the ocean, and like I said earlier, it's not clever enough written to be a tight survival thriller, so they're going to be floating on their kayaks for most of the movie, and not terribly much will happen, but overall, it is okay enough. It's far from the Asylum's worst movie, it's far from the worst shark movie I've seen. They are trying something different, and it has a few ideas in here. Overall, it's just really not that great, but it was watchable, so it's okay. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'm going to leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Sharks of Summer 2024 playlist if you want to watch this series from the beginning. I've covered several other movies, including some by the Asylum, and speaking of Michael Madsen, I even did a Megalodon DVD collection. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.